Jordan? Oh. Am I on? Jordan? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Are we ready, Jordan? Yep. Okay, it's 5:30. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'm hereby calling the meeting to order. Clerk, will you take the roll, please?
Chair Stanley. Vice Chair Freitas.
Here.
Board Member Vogel.
Here.
Board Member Gillen. Board Member Nash.
Here.
Okay, can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? At this time, I'm going to go ahead and approve the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for January 28th?
Motion to approve.
We need a second?
Second.
I second that.
So we have a motion to approve and a second by Christine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I feel included now. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take some comments from the public on non-agenda items at this time.
If you took your mask off, we could hear you.
Well,
You can take it off if you want, it's up to you, or you can put the microphone close to yourself. What she's asking for is non-agenda items, that is, if you wanted to talk about how the roads are paved, or what the parks look like, or something not on the agenda, she's taking public comment at this time. If in fact you're planning to talk about the agenda item, we would ask that you fill out one of these orange cards, and she'll call your name during that item. Seeing no
we have no public comments at this time. Board, do we have any comments from the board members?
No.
No.
Okay, I'm seeing no comments from the board, so we'll go ahead and move on. Other matters before the board? We are here today for a variance approval for 823 Southeast St. Lucie Crescent. Staff, go ahead and do your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Stephen Mayer for the record. The variance request by Dale Alexander is for a lot at 823 Southwest St. Lucie Crescent. It is a variance that is requesting a lot split and specifically to reduce the minimum lot width, lot dimensions, and side setbacks for the two proposed lots. The petitioner, Dale Alexander, requested in writing to allow for the splitting of the single lot at 823 Southwest St. Lucie Crescent with the following variances to code. There are three as it pertains to two lots. As you can see in the chart, the minimum lot area for the R1 zoning district is 7,500 square feet. The proposed development is split into two lots. One would be 7,500 and meet the code, but the other would be 6,160 square feet and therefore below the minimum lot area in the R1 zoning district. The other would be the minimum lot width of 75 feet required. Both lots would be 50 and 50.3 feet wide. And lastly, the minimum side setback is 7.5 feet for R1, and the proposed waiver or variance would be 5 feet side setbacks for both lots on both sides. So the location of the property in the aerial, you can see it's a vacant parcel right now. It is on Southwest St. Lucie Crescent, as I mentioned, 823. And the zoning is R1, as you can see. The adjacent properties are all R1. Across the street from St. Lucie Crescent is R1A. There is a little pocket park at the end of Bryant. The proposed plan in your packet shows how the division is proposed. The lot split would create two lots, one lot at 6160 and the other actually meeting the 75. It would be 10,000 square feet total, therefore not needing the minimum lot variance for this lot. You can see there that one, it would be 50 feet and the other at 50.3 feet wide. You can also see that in this proposed plan, the applicant has provided a floor plan area for a proposed house on one of the lots with the 5-foot setbacks requested. And the other one, they did not propose a lot at this time, but did request the 5-foot building setback as a typical. The application also proposed a rendering of the front elevation of that one lot, the larger lot, and also rear elevation, as well as floor plans. Now, staff wants to make you aware of the code in this regard for BOA variances. In section 8.0501, it grants a Board of Adjustment variance. The Board of Adjustment may grant a variance from the strict application of the following dimensional requirements of the City Land Development Regulations and the City Code of Ordinances. In subsection 204, it regards lot area requirements and minimum yard setbacks. I highlight that because those are the requests that you have in this application, or for, and it makes it eligible for a BOA variance. There are limitations on granting variances in the code. It's section 8.0502. The initial determination made by the Board of Adjustment they have the power to authorize in specific cases of variances from the provisions set forth in subsection 80401A, which will not be contrary to the public interest where, owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the provisions of certain parts of this code will, in an individual case, result in unnecessary hardship so that the spirit of the code shall be observed, public safety and welfare secured, and the substantial justice done. Such variance may be granted in such a case of unnecessary hardship upon the following findings by the Board of Adjustment. I continue that the required findings, the need for the proposed variance is attributable to unique characteristics of the property, either as to the land or to any improvements thereon, or both. And the proposed variance, if granted, will not authorize any use of property that is not allowed as a permitted use or use allowed by conditional use. In this case, single-family residential is allowed in this district. Allow a density or intensity of use that exceeds the maximum density or intensity that is permitted in this district in which the property is located. The property has a density that stems from the comprehensive plan that allows for this split if granted by this variance. The density is what it is in the comp plan. It's 8.7, and so that would be a 5,000 square foot lot. 50 foot by 100, or 5,000 square foot. The variance is actually to the R1 zoning table for lot size. 3, results in variable reduction of property values of any adjacent or nearby properties. We do not have evidence that that would be the case either way. Cause a detrimental effect in the supply of light and air to adjacent properties, and we don't have evidence of that. Cause a detrimental effect with respect to drainage of the property, of the subject property as well as adjacent properties. The subject property would still have to meet during their permit review all of the applicable drainage sections of the code. Would not cause an increase of traffic on adjacent or nearby roads to levels that are not usual for types of uses in the neighborhood. The use is a residential single-family use, and we do not suspect that there would be a detrimental increase. Cause any threat to public safety in any manner whatsoever. We do not see that to be the case, and cause any threat to the health or general welfare of the inhabitants of the city. And finally, the variance shall not be granted that exceeds the minimum variance to the strict application of the provisions of this code necessary to alleviate the unnecessary hardship. So finally, staff recommends you consider approval of the attached draft final order in light of the following: the criteria for reviewing a variance, which I had just gone over with you, the testimony from the applicants, which you're about to hear, and the receipt of any public comment. Now, staff had provided hard copies of emails that were given to staff, and I think a lot of them went to you as well, but I wanted to put them at least in public record and to you this way. The locations of those that we had received are properties that are, I shouldn't have done that, there we go. Properties that are here, located at this location, located there, and located across the street there from the applicant there. So those are the public comments we had received by email, written record, and now the applicant is here to present at this time. If the applicant would like to come forward.
I'm going to ask first if there's any comments from the board at this time. Questions for the staff, I'm sorry. Any comments for the staff at this time?
No.
No.
No,
No?
I can
Okay.
come back and ask, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, will the applicant please proceed with the presentation?
Good evening. I heard somebody talking a smidgen a while ago about the mask being hindrance. If I'm 6 feet, is it okay if I take this off? I'm a true believer in masks, but I want to be sure that people can understand and hear what I say. Is that suitable?
That's fine.
Okay, I feel odd taking this mask off, trust me. But I have had my COVID shots, both of them, because I am an old guy. Okay,
Can you please
I'm-
present your name to the,
I'm sorry?
can we please have your name, please, for the board?
I was just about to do
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm Bob Burson. I'm attorney here in Stewart. I've been here for 40-something years. My office used to be across the street where you now have a rental apartment. I owned the Otterson building there for a bunch of years. And while we were there, we represented Mr. Dale Alexander. Dale is right here. Dale's been around this area for many years as a very good citizen. We have a PowerPoint. I kept wanting to say a slideshow, a PowerPoint. I'm not, this is the first one I've made for the public. The last time I made one was for Kiwanis Club that failed miserably, so I'm hoping this one will go. Okay. Well, first off, I just want to point out that these lots were platted back before this was Martin County. It's 3 different plats in this neighborhood. There was the plat of H.W. Bessie's first addition to the city of Stewart, and then the second addition to the city of Stewart. The first, oh, see, there you go, hold on. This part up in here, all the way down to here, that's the first addition. The second addition is here, and then the third one, and Mike, don't open your eyes, right here, that's Hal Patioki. And I included all those as a larger area to the community. The area that we had to give notice to is 300 feet, and that's what this line is through here. Everybody in there are ones within the 300 feet. And of course, this property here is where we are. So there's 3 plats in there, and you can see that when they were platted of all kinds of sizes with road frontages. From 50 feet, and that's still a 50-foot lot. It has not been joined with other ones. All of these along here were 51-foot frontages. These were 60, 52.3. These were 60. These are 60. And these were a variety of 61 to 65, depending on exactly where they were with the ends on here. These were 60, and these are all 50. So you can see there's a big variety of how these lots were first platted back before 1925. I don't know if you can read that, but we looked at every lot in that area to see which ones have either 7,500 square feet or under, or whether their frontage on the roads is 75 feet or less. And it's actually 3 pages. And the bottom line there is, and I got to get close here, there are 19 homes, properties with under 7,500 square feet, and 55 that have less than 75-foot frontage. And those vary from 40-foot wide lots to some that are 60, 65, whatever, but they're all under that area. So the 50-foot is typical. I think you can see that there's all kinds of variations. And these are not what they're platted. These are what they are now. This is, when you drive through the neighborhood, there will be 55 homes there that do not have 75-foot frontages on them. And similarly, this is a map of showing where those homes are that have less than 7,500 square feet. And this shows where the frontages are less than 75 feet. So it's, and there's some that are both. There's some that have both 75 feet or less and 7,500 square feet. I'm not sure how familiar everybody on the panel is, the commission is, with the neighborhood. I've put together just some street views here to show you representative homes. Not all of these are ones that are smaller than what are under the code for either the frontage or for the size, but just to give a representation to you and a background if you're not familiar with the overall neighborhood. And these aren't in any particular order other than they're kind of representative. Now, this lot right here is it? Good idea. I kept moving over to the side so I could see. It's better. Okay. How's this? Is that better? Thank you. Took my mask off so you could hear, but then I avoided the microphone. So this house is interesting because it's right on the water as you come into the subdivision on St. Lucie Crescent. It was the one that I showed you a few minutes ago that was actually platted as a 50-foot wide lot. So that lot is this from the air. And you can see that as a 50-foot wide lot, you can put a significant sized house on it. Let me find a little button for the green thing. So this is the same width as the one, as the smaller lot that we're asking for. Our lot going back, though, is only 121 feet. This one's 191 feet. So it has a bigger square footage. But 121 feet comes to about here. Now, this appears to me to be like a garage, and this is the house. This may be an outbuilding for the pool. That's what it appears to me after looking at it. But the 121 feet for us comes to right about the end of that building, which, as I measured it and scaled it out, that's at least 20 feet from the back of this house. We have a 20-foot setback. So just as this house is built here with the front drive and with a home, we could do that on the smaller lot as well, including the 20-foot setback that goes against the property of the back. I don't know what the side setbacks are on any of these houses, whether they had to get variances or anything else like that. We had no way to check that record. So that's the first house view. Of course, we have the condominiums when you first come in. And there's just an overview as a reference. We have apartment complex. There's a bunch of the subdivision turned commercial up along US 1, and this is a back entrance, I guess, to a law firm. And just some random shots we just took some to show. And if you look at this one from the air, it's a pretty good size house. It's more than one lot, that's for sure. It's lots 39 and 40, and it's very nice. And of course, when you come in, there's this type of construction as well. And this is right near the water up front, close to US 1. And that's actually a triplex that back on the left-hand side of the road. That is an apartment complex, the best I can tell. That's 2 lots. You can see the 2 mailboxes up front. That's 2 houses on Cleveland. And we took these off Google Maps, and I don't know if all these houses still stand. I know there was one that was knocked down, a real big one that was there. It was on Google Maps, and we looked, well, that's crazy. And then we realized that that's where those 2 big buildings are going up now. So if you see something here that's, not quite current, it's because this is updated Google Maps. And this is a corner lot. This one is just a little under 5,200 square feet. This is on the corner of, it's part of Halpatioke, where it's, and this is just actually right around the corner from Dale's property. So you can see there's a lot of variety in sizes, shapes. There's a lot of variety in setbacks. Some of these homes are right up on the road, so there's no parking up in the driveway. It's hard to park, and so there ends up with being a lot of on-street parking. Other ones, like you see the variety of those 2 there. One is set back further, and the other one's up closer. And of course, it makes a difference to the parking. This is the house right next door to Dale's. His would be on the right-hand side. I think this is Jolie Pond house. And just to point out here, on the right-hand side of her house, you can see a aluminum structure that was one of those car protectors where you can, I guess it's a heavy-duty material that has gone away, but that's on her property. So she did not build up to the 7.5-foot setback line. She's probably, I'm guessing, probably at least 20 feet or more on the side from our lot line, which is over here more in the bushes. This is now down the southern part, Indianola. Some more. This is the aerial of the property we're talking about. And I want to show you here the surrounding properties. This, of course, is what Dale owns. Jolie Pond is here. This is a relative new construction, and then this property goes from here to this street, so it runs the entire length of what Dale's does. The house is built here, and a pool is here. So their entrance is over here. There's a rental house here, and right in here there's I call it a shed, but it's really a pretty good sized building. And you'll see it in some photos coming up as being a really rusted roof. But a couple of things pointing out here is that this is where there used to be a house that has been just taken down. This is what I was pointing out, an area between this house and the property line where there's a significant setback in place because of their construction. And that's where that car shed thing was. Over here in this construction, there's at least a 20-foot setback there, I'm assuming because of the recent construction on this and assuming there wasn't a variance on that. Over here, this house has been there for a good long while. I can't really measure that for you, but I'm assuming that that's a 20-foot to her rear there. And then she's got an out parcel building here. Now, this is what Dale is proposing. It's taking the property, and this is the lot now. I mean, there's basically was a lot here. Now, understand, these lots are all mishmashed. I mean, it's like the south half of this and the north half of this and the east half. I mean, all of these, the original lot lines bear no resemblance to what these properties along here look like. But this is a part and parcel kind of put together over the years. This is the smaller lot, and this is where Dale intends to build his primary residence. Now, something about Dale is Dale Alexander of Alexander Gunite that was here for many, many, many years, putting gunite into swimming pools and building swimming pools all around the communities, Treasure Coast for many years. So he doesn't have a home without a pool. And that is a lap pool right there. His house is here. Remember on the overhead a while ago, we showed you that the bare spot here was where the prior house was located. This is all wooded back in here, and the house will be set back with a bend in it, with a lanai here, and then a pool here. These are the 5-foot setbacks, and you can see that the pool fits within the 5-foot setback. But for the pool, the code already allows a 5-foot setback for unscreened pools. So there's no change. I mean, we don't need the variance from 7.5 feet to 5 feet in here because we already meet the code for that lap pool from both the rear and the side. So that can be built now without any code changes or without any variance. The benefit to Dale of having the house set back is, of course, there's more privacy, and he's going to put a drive in through here, and it'll be landscaped and all. This was the plan of what was going to be there. There used to be an old house there, and if you anybody see the house that was there that was torn down a couple of years ago? Do you want to see the nightmare again? There was a house over here on the right that this gentleman was building around. He was going to build that over the existing house. It failed, and that's why there's the cleared spot up front of the lot. These are recent photos of Dale took standing more or less in the middle of the right-hand side lot, looking back, and that's the shed that I mentioned with the rusted roof that's on the adjoining property. And it's pretty close to the lot line, and it's a significant structure, but it's been there for so many years. It's going to stay. And this is standing back, looking to with his back to the house that's closest to the street on the right-hand side or the south side, and that's looking at. And both of these are looking at the same area, basically. This is the back left-hand corner of the property. You can see there's a lot of overgrowth in there and all like that against that shed and that corner of the intersection. And this is the house that we saw in the overview a while ago. It's an adjacent property that is somewhat recently built and would have already have the 20-foot setback in there. So it's not like you have two houses close together. And that's just another photo of that without the rusty shed. This one is looking at it from a little bit different angle because this is where we're going to kind of reconfigure that lot from a 35-foot wide lot to a 50-foot wide lot. You can see there's trees all over the property there. This is up towards the front. That's, again, the property there with where you can see the car thing, and there's the survey marker. So you can see it's fairly significant distance between the lot line and the house over there. The monstrosity of a house that was torn down resulted in a lot split that was approved as a variance, and the owner of the property at the time came up with this configuration. I don't know what was going to happen back here or whatever, but it seemed to be a split division just so that we could get, or that they could get a minimum of 7,500 square feet on each one, and then they got the variance for the setback of 5 feet on each side. But so each one of those lots there have 7,500 square feet. Again, it's an odd duck. It would not fit Dale's plans, that's for sure. And you can see his plans there were also to put the house up front. Again, this is Dale's proposal. You can see it makes a little more sense as to the division and use of the property. The only consequence really of taking this out and not sticking it back over here is that it reduces this one down to 6,160 feet, which is under the 7,500. This one, of course, increased from 7,500 to over 10,000. But with this house at the back and the pool here, it makes an excellent place for Dale. And he'll put in, he'll driveway here, and where there was the house up here that's cleared, with trees and things like that, from here, he's going to try to relocate or whatever the arborist said is the best thing to do. But this front portion up here will be treed and all, and such that it's going to be difficult to even see the house back in there. And we have plans, more detailed plans so that you can show. I mean, this is the house that he's actually going to build. Over here, that's for future and not nothing's going to happen there now. Again, just to show the oversight, get that perspective again. That's where the old house was. This is where the new house is going to be. If you look at this, we're asking for a 2.5 foot setback on the sides. So this is a side. So we go from 7.5 to 5. Well, this house is not at 7.5, so it's not like we're encroaching. Like I said, it's a big difference. I mean, it's a big distance in here. This is already 20 feet back, but the only thing we're building in here is a pool that's already allowed by code to be 5 feet from it. So this area in here really doesn't need a variance of the 2.5 feet for that part of it. It's just that we developed the plans after we put in the application, or the plans came more clear. And over here, coming in at 2.5 feet off of this one, or coming in 2.5 feet closer on this side to 5 feet, you can see it's not like, again, that we have creating zero lot line type situation, because there's plenty of spread here between the house here. Dale's house will be back up in here and angling that way. And again, there's a pool down here in the front of this property. For this house here, this line, that's the rear lot line of this lot, of this new proposed lot. So there's a 20-foot setback from here to here. So the house is going to have to be 20 feet from this lot, no matter what. I mean, that's, we're not asking for any variance of that 20 feet. It'll fit up in here. So effectively, there's not a big change here. It's not like we're going to be, talking to people out the restroom windows door to door. This one's already okay. This one here is it's a 20-foot setback because that's our rear, and we've got plenty of room there. The plans allow for that 20-foot off of there. So that's kind of how those are fitting together. Now here's the floor plan for Dale. This is not as it sits on the lot. This is just the plan. You can see again there's some coming in with the garage. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And this is the lanai. It comes in and goes straight out that way. That's a front elevation of it. Fairly simple, but modest and good looking. This is, we asked the architect who did the other one, who's been working with Dale on all of this, to give us a sample of what could fit on that lot, and he looked at this one, and this fits. This is actually a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I doubt that anybody would actually build a 3-bedroom, but this is a plan that he drew out. It's all to scale and everything, and that's what it could look like on the front. And here's how they would fit on the lots together. You see Dale's coming down here. Again, he's far away from the back of this house. He's within code there. He's in with code here. He's in with code here. Again, until he builds something here, he's got a whole bunch of distance here to this one. And this one is 5 feet plus the 20 feet that they're using, because remember, this is their back. I mean, the lot that is next to him over here, that's their back lot line. So they're 20 feet per code away from that common lot line. It's not like it's a side for both and we're only 5 feet apart or something like that. So there's plenty of distance for privacy and for all the purposes that the code presents when they're providing setbacks. Oh, something happened. Oh, that was the last one. I didn't want to do that. This area in here, like I said, that's the vacant area. You saw a lot of palm trees and things like that in here. Some of those, if it can be possibly moved, will be moved, but this area in here will be planted. This area in here, this is a 2-car garage. As I showed you at the very first home in the ride-through, or the streets views, that big house that's 191 feet deep but 50 foot wide, that house and the garage and all, it would fit in the same space as this, in that 121 feet. So you can get a nice looking house. You can get a nice view. As you noticed in that first one, there's plenty of parking on it with the pavers and everything else like that to make it look nice. And I don't think either one of these houses will create a need for on-site parking or on-street parking, especially this one. I think there's plenty of room. That's 70 feet from here to here. So there's absolutely no problem in there. And until that one's built, when this one is built, of course, the parking has to be addressed and will be addressed. And it may be that Dale would include an easement over to here to allow some angular parking or something like that if it was needed. But this is a 2-car garage for a relatively small house. So that's the presentation. I'm not sure how to turn it off. The history of this is kind of interesting. Dale has. Oh, yeah. I'll give you a quarter after for reminding me. I appreciate it. Dale's lived here in Martin County for many, many years. Like I said, he's always enjoyed downtown Stewart. He's always coming to the restaurants downtown for many years. As I went through to my office, I would see him and John Lesser from the Lyric Theater sitting out on the sidewalk having breakfast and reading newspapers together. They sometimes refused to wave to me, but most of the time they did. But Dale was living outside the city recently down State Road 76, and it was getting annoying to him to have to drive down the State Road 76 just to get to downtown when that's where he wanted to be most of the time. So he started looking around for some lots, and he came up with this one. But he's downsizing. He's sold a bigger house, he's downsizing, and now he's got this lot that was too big for him when he saw it. Because, well, it's a little bit too big, but, what can I do? You're going to be mowing still or paying somebody to mow. So started investigating it, and we found out about the monstrosity that had been eliminated and with the result of a lot split. And Dale drove the neighborhood extensively and saw the variety of lot sizes that you saw through the representation that we had here, and said, well, let me buy this, and then I'll do a lot split, and we will be able to do something in the future if I need to. Not that I'm going to do it now, but I'm going to need to. Now, understand, Dale's not a developer. He's not married. He is building this for himself. It's not for a profit thing. This is where he's going to live. I mean, this is his house. He's retired. He just wants to live close to downtown, and that's why he picked this lot. But it really is too big. He can see in the future where it will be too big, and that's why he wanted to split it in case circumstances in his life said, I need to get rid of part of this, and without having to sell the whole thing. He wants this to be his final home. I mean, this is what his goal is. But he didn't want to get burdened with too much land. And that's why the aspect of coming in for a lot split along the line of what was done before. Now, initially thought, well, we'll do the same lot split that was before, but quite honestly, it doesn't make sense. I mean, if you remember that little configuration where it goes off to the back, I don't know what that was for, except for to make it 2 lots of 7,500 square feet each. So working with the architect came up with the idea of let's split it to the way that we've demonstrated that we want to do. It came up with these plans. The plans are fairly reasonable, we think. We think that we have a minimum type of changes in the zoning. I mean, I think it's not asking for a whole lot more than what we need. The way he's configured the lots allows him more privacy, and if you look at a lot of those lots, when you go through the neighborhood, those lots are built right up. Some of those lots are 50 feet deep, but they're on the corner. And so they're stretched out over a 50-foot by 110-foot, perhaps, front. And if you look at the photos, it's like a sausage dog, you know. It's long and narrow, and they're right up on the back with very little distance in the back. And that's not what we have here. He's going to have plenty of room for parking, for on-site parking, and that type of thing. So that's where he is. He would like to build the home for himself. The immediate plans will be for the other part will just be to maintain it as a yard until somewhere down the line, if his circumstances change, he would like to be able to sell that off, or perhaps build a small rental house or something like that. But in any event, whatever is built is going to be good looking. It's being designed by an architect. It's got good colors. It's got, I know Dale, he'll have great landscaping, and it'll be something that the community will be proud of. I mean, it's a nice combination of development of those 2 lots. That's it?
Yeah, thank you.
Board, would you like to take public comment at this time?
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and take public comment. We'll ask the members to step forward in front of the microphone, state their name, city in which they reside, and the item number, which will be item number 2. And we're going to go ahead and call Mary Hutchison.
I'm a little bit shorter, so this has to come down. My name is Mary Hutchinson. I'm at 902 St. Lucie Crescent. I'm kind of catty corner to this property, and I'm intimately, as well as everybody here in the neighborhood, with this piece of property because we have fought it for several years, which resulted in the original lot split that was here. And if applicable, I'd like to show you a few more pictures of the house that was there, which was the reason why the original lot, why the city issued the original lot split was the only way that we as a neighborhood could get that monstrosity down. And it was a deal that the city commissioner at the time struck with the prior owner of the property, came in front of the city commission, and for us as a neighborhood, it was kind of, this is your only option, you have to accept it or the house is going to stay there. So if it's possible, I'd like to share these other pictures with the board. Thank you. So as you guys saw in your, and I actually feel like I just kind of took a big class of the art of deception with that prior presentation. Most of the pictures that he showed in that presentation were on the other side of Riverdale in our neighborhood. That kind of split, Riverdale splits the neighborhood in 2. The north side of Riverdale has more multifamily zoning on it, whereas the neighbor part, those of us, which is pretty much everybody that lives here, is on the south side, and that has different zoning.
Can you indicate where you're speaking of, where he's speaking of, where you're speaking of on this
Yeah,
map?
as long as I don't, as long as I get my whole 3 minutes.
What's that?
He was showing on the arrow.
I was looking at these, sorry.
Is Riverdale? Wait, I got a pointer. That has a different,
Okay.
that has a different zoning up there than the south side. this area, so as you can see, it's completely different zoning on Riverdale, and almost all of the pictures that he showed you were north of Riverdale, not south of Riverdale.
Okay, thank you.
So when the applicant purchased this property, it was a single-family residency. It was, and most of the people who have built around this lot built their houses when there was a cute little cottage. And if you look directly at those pictures, you'll see the original cottage is in those pictures. It was a cute little Florida cracker cottage that sat there for years. I think it was on the historical tour at one point. So that house was what was there, and pretty much everybody who has built around that, built with that being one lot, not as two 50-foot lots as was presented to you by the applicant here. I don't feel that there is a hardship for the applicant. He knew what he was buying when he bought it. I don't go buy a Ford Ranger pickup truck and then ask for it to be turned into a F-250 or something. He knew that it was a single lot when he bought it. And for all of us that live in the neighborhood, I feel that it would be a hardship to everybody that lives around it if it's split, because they purchased their lots knowing that it was a single family and with the setbacks that existed at that time. So those are the pictures that was there. That is the reason why there was the original variance that had the deadline as 2015. The prior owner could have split it at that point, but he elected not to act on that, and that's why that waiver went away in 2015. So happy to answer any questions as to how we got to the original split, if you like. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the second person to speak will be Ann Buford.
My name is Ann Burford. Can you hear me with my mask on?
Yes.
I live on Cleveland Avenue for over 40 years. And as Mary said, our portion south of Riverdale, that is single lots, residential, no commercial, no rentals at all. Now, Dale Alexander, I want to commend you. I think you have a wonderful lot where you are. It is probably one of the last large buildable lots that we have in the H.W. Bessie allotment. This area has become so popular. Prospective builders purchase a residence, they demolish it, and then rebuild, because the land being worth more than the building. Also, you are fortunate that your neighbors are friendly in that area and are year-round residents. There's no rentals or Airbnbs there. There is one next to me, and there shouldn't be. We should not have any commercial. How it got snuck in there, but it did. I am hoping now that you do not divide your property, but keep it as it is. I am not in favor of 50-foot lots. Now, if on the other hand, you are speculating on this property to become 2 buildable lots by requesting a variance at this time, that's a horse of a different color. But I feel that a variance on this lot should not be granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person to approach is Dick, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Giles, maybe? Apologize.
Yeah, my name is Dick Giles. I live on Cleveland, 727 Cleveland. I just built the new home that he pointed to, adjacent to the backside of this property. Mr. Burson presented this neighborhood as a number of 55 or 50-foot lots. In fact, the changes, those were all grandfathered in, those that are in our area, and the city established new requirements. The properties west of Riverdale Avenue, sorry, can't breathe in that thing, in the subject neighborhood are designated for single-family homes. The city has established requirements for 75 feet of road frontage and a minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet or greater to prevent excessive crowding in the neighborhood. The subject lot is irregular in shape and most suitable for a single-family home. Attempting to subdivide this property leads to the unintended consequence that one lot cannot be logically sized to meet the minimum size restraint. Therefore, due to the irregular shape of the lot, numerous variances are required. This is not one variance. This is basically a rewrite of the code. Therefore, due to the irregular shape, numerous variances are required, all of which benefit the one party to the detriment of the surrounding property owners and amount to rewriting the code. As noted in section 80502 of the code, variances are intended to alleviate unnecessary hardship. In this case, Mr. Alexander was fully aware that this lot did not meet the requirements for a lot split. Further, he was advised by city planners against buying the land to attempt a lot split because it cannot be done without numerous variances. Even forewarned, he proceeded and now wishes to change the code to suit his purpose, although this cannot be done while maintaining the spirit of the code as required by 80502. The owner of the property has indicated his plan to shoehorn a home into a small portion at the back of the larger of the two proposed lots, while most of that lot would be unused for construction. Clearly, there is no need to relax setback requirements on the lot because there's ample room for construction without that concession. Therefore, the proposed variance with regard to the setback should be summarily denied. Attempting to split the lot in the proposed fashion creates a substandard sized lot which will cause a home on that lot to be uncomfortably close to existing homes. Mr. Burson pointed to setbacks on other lots as being beneficial in separating the homes, but that isn't the issue. The issue is the setback on the lot itself. There is no reason to give that side setback variance because there's room to build a house on the lot without it. This is not consistent with section 80502 part B1 in that it increases the density of use beyond that intended. There's no need to provide setback relief for such a lot except to benefit the owner without regard to the existing adjacent properties. It is also clear that reducing the setbacks on the proposed lot would adversely affect adjacent home values. Somebody said.
Sir, your time is up.
Yeah, your 5 minutes is up, to be fair to all of the speakers.
3 minutes, I'm sorry.
3
They
minutes,
get
I'm
3
sorry.
minutes.
May I finish for a minute or two?
It's up to the board.
I just have a couple other points to make.
I'll say yes.
Let me see. I'll skip a little bit. Anyway, for those reasons and to attempt to maintain our neighborhood appearance in general, I disagree with the proposed variances. I also have and would like to present to you a copy of the comments that I put together for this meeting, and also a petition that is basically signed by everybody in the adjacent area, everybody west of Riverdale in the neighborhood objecting to the variances that are proposed.
Sir, I can take that.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Is it okay to have them point that out on the map now?
Is it okay to point that out on the map?
He said he's
Go
got
ahead and ask.
petitions.
Oh, absolutely, ask. Staff. Go ahead and ask. Staff. She would like you to point out,
Can you point out the area that he says he obtained the signatures from for the petition?
can you speak in the microphone? He can.
Can you point out the area that he said he obtained the signatures from for the petition?
What was the address?
The area. He said he had a number.
He said it was west of Riverdale.
Which area was the sign?
This is Riverdale.
Single families are,
This,
not the multifamily, not the apartment building. We get people yelling from the audience, it's too hard to track the meeting. If somebody wants to use the phone.
The yellow.
You see what that lighter yellow is? That would be west of Riverdale. And this brighter yellow is east of Riverdale. So the section would be more in line with this area.
So that is the area where he obtained the signatures from?
Yes,
Okay.
almost completely. There might have been one or two properties that were just across the street of Riverdale.
Thank you.
Okay, can Mike, Spencer maybe, or Cercer, sorry, approach the bench? And please announce your name, sorry. Beautiful handwriting.
Mike Berger, I live in Bessie's Third Edition, City of Stewart. I appreciate the history lesson. I appreciate everything that's been going on, except for one thing. The City of Stewart generated these codes for some reason. We did not want high-density housing in a residential neighborhood. The applicant has a perfect amount of land to build his single-family home. It's not any hardship to him, it's just he can't develop a separate lot. He knew what he was buying when he bought the lot. There is nothing in the code that says he has to make a profit on his property. He can build his house without the setbacks, without any variance at all, and he can live there comfortably the rest of his life. He just can't build another house on his lot. And I don't think the code was set up to make him a profit on his property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joanne Lesher.
Like everybody else, and I'll take off my mask for a moment. This is a beautiful lot.
Can you just state your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Joanne Lesher, 541 Southwest St. Lucie Crescent.
Thank you. Joanne.
This absolutely is a beautiful lot, and it's a lovely neighborhood, and I don't blame you, Mr. Alexander, for wanting to come and join us. But this lot, in order for you to, there's so much beautiful foliage on this lot, and this is all going to have to be cleared down. This is perfect for a single-family home with a beautiful pool in the back, but you're going to be intruding on Jolie, who's been there for a long time, Dick and Missy, who just built their home. This obviously is an older photo because there's a home here now. This home's been here for a long time. Build your home. Come join our community. But you can't squeeze another home. I agree with the other gentleman. Come live there. This isn't for you to squeeze more money out of this lot. You're not going to be able to tear down all of that beautiful foliage and build in people's backyards. People walk their dogs. They say hello to each other. They know each other's dogs. The lots it's not like Brooklyn, Bronx, and Queens where you have a little strip on the side where you just have enough for your garbage cans. There's one front way into this neighborhood, and there's a back entrance to this neighborhood, and it's charming. And it's beautiful, and everybody knows each other. So to start building on top of each other, this is going to open up a whole Pandora's box for people to say, well, you know what, I've got this little piece of property, I'm gonna build there. You know, I got this little piece on my back lot, I can get a variance for it. Leave the community like it is. Obviously, you can see that a lot of people here are not for this, splitting this lot. It's a beautiful neighborhood, we welcome you, but we just don't want that scary part of that lot that who knows what's going to happen to it, and variance after variance after variance. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Deborah Detterman.
Hi,
Hi there.
I'm Deborah Detterman. I actually live at 724 Southwest Bryant Avenue, which would be on the property right behind you, right next door. 5 feet is about as tall as I am. You walk back, that little building in the back is my outdoor shower. So, and the fence line that we have there is 6 feet tall between the properties. It's been nice having all the trees and everything else back there. The house that used to be there was an historical house. It was great when then Michael Baird bought it and built this monstrosity over it, and we had it torn down. It was just the variances that were just unbelievably, wrong in so many ways. And I think if you cut it that short, that it's not going to be enough space between
Ma'am, please
your
address the
house-
board.
Between your house and my, my backyard, my patio, my walkway from my shower to the patio and around to the pool. I mean, I can walk and touch my fence. The house itself is the 20 feet, fine. But, you've got extra space. I don't know how far back, if you're talking 5 feet, you're gonna be just this far on the other side of my fence. I mean, I talked to you once already. You introduced yourself. The lot is beautiful. I kind of do like the idea of your plan about building to the back of the property, because I'd rather you not have something to the front overlooking my pool. I don't feel like living in a fishbowl, or have any looky-loos or whatever. I don't know. And I've also got a note here from my nephew. He couldn't make it in tonight. He also lives at that address, and I can give that to you too. But I think he's just asking for too many variances, and it might just be too crowded, especially with another house behind the Jolies. It's just, I find it ridiculous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last we have Leon Moore.
Hi, my name is Leon Moore. I live at 808 St. Lucie Crescent, which is 2 houses down on the water beside the one that's being built. Last time I was up here, last 3 times I was up here, we were speaking about someone who was building what everyone's calling the monstrosity. And part of the reason it was torn down is because it wasn't built properly. The building materials were taken from the home that I tore down, and they put that monstrosity together with the scraps. Another reason was because they admitted they were going to have a rental out of that home. They were going to live in part of it and rent the other half. That was as much of a reason that it was torn down as beside it was built out of code, out of variance. The inspector sat right over there, and he agreed with it until we proved it wrong. That's what's going to be done in this instance. A single-family lot is going to be rented on. My neighbor Dick that just built, he sold his home right on the water, St. Lucie Crescent, built a beautiful home that would be backing up to this, whatever it is, that would be shoehorned in. He spent $700,000 building off the water, and I'm sure they would not have built there and put all that money in, nor would the people who just bought this house right beside him, a brand new build, if they'd have known that all these variances were going to be granted right behind them. It would have influenced me building. Variances were different a while back. I have Hubert Bessie's railroad tracks running in my yard from the river up in my yard. That wouldn't be able to be done now, but that was before the variances were in place. The new owner certainly knows what he purchased because of everything that went on with this lot before. We would love to see a single-family home built in the same taste before the other one was ruined. We would appreciate that, and the lot would certainly be a beautiful place to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all the public comments that I have at this time. Mike, do we need discussion from the board at this point, or?
Can we,
Discussion from the board, I don't know if they have questions for the applicant or for staff based upon what they've heard, or is there a motion from the board member?
And then really quickly, we also have to check with Paul, who's on Zoom, to see if there's any
Oh,
comment.
thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Currently, we do not have anyone who has a hand raised for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jordan. Forgot about that one. I have questions. Does anyone on the board have questions?
I have questions as well.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and start, Kristen?
Okay. My first question is to both staff and the applicant. Not quite sure who can answer this one, but can you do the lot split without the setback variance?
Yes, if he wanted to just do the lot split without having the setback variance, then he would have to maintain 7.5, which would certainly make him more narrow, but that would be something that's possible.
Okay.
Can you explain that a little bit differently?
Oh, so he's asking for the 5-foot setback.
Yes.
And what if it was just back to the 7.5 that's required by the zoning? So he could still build the lot. So he's asking for several variances.
Right.
He's asking for a reduction in lot coverage, lot area, and then the second one would be the side setback reduction.
And frontage.
And frontage, yes. So it's still buildable if you split the lot and use the existing setbacks, is what you're saying?
The code and staff didn't require for any of the 3 setback requests. The applicant is requesting that because it's reasonable for their application to ask for 5, but if you just granted the minimum lot width and the minimum lot area, they would be able to split the lot and build something, if they could, reasonably to code in terms of setbacks.
Okay, thank you. You can go ahead.
Are you finished?
Yes, for now.
Is it possible to get the note that was presented to the staff from the nephew or son read into the record? Thanks. I beg your pardon?
Can you read it, Jordan?
Can you
or do
read it
want
into the
us-
record? Thank you.
Oh, I can try. It's handwritten, so. Can you please state what his name was for me so I don't? Okay. My name is KJ Detterman. I live at 724 Southwest Bryant Avenue, Stuart, Florida 34994. I live here with my grandmother. We both think they're asking for too many variances and it will be crowded, and we should be a single-family lot. I will feel exposed in the backyard and at the pool, which we use for leisure and physical therapy. My privacy will feel violated if it's too crowded.
And then finally, can you tell me the number of signatures that are on the petition that was submitted for the record?
There's a lot.
There are 33 signatures.
Are you finished? TJ?
Just to be clear, what Christina was talking about with the lot variance from the setbacks, if it was still 7.5, you still are left with a 50-foot of frontage on each lot.
And because the setbacks are for the
Correct,
side.
yes.
So your setbacks meet city code, but that does not meet current city code. Is that correct?
Requirements, the zoning,
The
yeah.
50-foot, right, the 50-foot
Yes.
would not meet code, so you'd be
Would not
getting a
meet code.
variance to that 50-foot.
Okay.
So both of them.
Yeah. I think the applicant may want to respond about the 5-foot versus the 7.5, because even though it's something staff could say is what you can do or request, I'm not sure the applicant would be able to build something to their, to the best of their.
Before we get to that, can I ask a question as a point of order?
sir.
Is this a variance request that can be split at this vote, or would he have to come back?
I can't understand, sorry.
He's asking for 3 variances essentially in one request.
She's
So-
asking if we can
because-
modify the
right.
request.
So the questions are all about the different variances. Well, does it have to be 75 versus 50, 5.5 versus 7? We're looking at a one request, right? And if,
There's one agenda item
all right,
with 3 deviations from the code.
okay,
The board could grant all the deviations, deny all the deviations, grant 1 deviation and deny 2 others, or grant 2 and deny 1 other, and vice versa. So it all depends on what the motion is by whatever board member. So
Okay.
if a board member were to say, I would move that we approve variances 1, 2, and 3, and it voted yes, then it would be fine. Or if the board member said, I would move for approval of variance 1, but not 2 and 3, then that would be the motion.
okay, so. Anyone else?
Does that answer your question, Claire?
Yes, I'm just trying to find where they're listed separately in the,
Setbacks.
You want this? That, right there.
all right, continue.
I have a few questions, whether it be the attorney or the applicant to answer. I guess it's the applicant. Dale, is this going to be your primary residence? Okay. Can you, I'd like to understand the hardship. What is the hardship that you're having to succumb to here by having, is it, I think I heard a few of them. I'm just wanting to know if you can just reiterate the hardship.
The applicant's going to respond if you can scan the microphone, please.
Can you come to the microphone, please, Dale? Thank you.
And please state your name as well.
Thank you.
The main one is that I was looking for a lot.
Can you state your name, please? I'm so sorry.
What?
We need you to state your name.
Just for purpose of the record, I mean, obviously, we all know your name, but we need it to come from you.
Sorry, thank you.
I'm Dale Alexander,
Perfect.
and I live down in California right now. And previously, I lived down on Harbor Street. It was too far from town, so I started looking for a place up here. And got driven to this lot here, the one we're talking about that I bought from Mike Braid, because there weren't any others left. And I looked at several. I spent a year and a half right at it looking for a lot to build on. I found this place here, and it was larger than I wanted, but I found out through exploration that the lot had been split at a previous time by Mike Braid in regards to that monstrosity house, you guys call it. It was built there, they tore it down because of code, all that other stuff. And he had a deal with the city apparently that said, okay, I'll tear the house down, but you guys give me a lot split. So he had said that to me. I didn't put that much weight in it maybe, but I was aware that it could be done, or had been done. I have a notification that says it was cleared and done, completed in 2015, 6 years ago. And then besides that, I talked to two different people in the city. One was a city attorney and one was on planning and zoning. The one guy said, I never did figure out why he backed off, because he had it done, he had it in the bag and it was completed, and then he didn't complete it, and it was inexplicable. And the other guy said that it didn't make any sense to him. It was just the man had put a lot of time and effort into splitting the lot, and then he didn't follow up on it.
And again, what is your reasonings for your hardship? I just need to understand.
Hardship for me is because I wanted to buy a smaller lot and intend to buy that only.
I'm sorry, just,
I didn't hear what they said.
that's okay. Just go ahead, please.
I wanted to buy a smaller lot. There wasn't one available. I found that that one there was available, and it could be split, so I thought, well, push comes to shove, I could split it off and sell part of it.
Okay.
Does describe that correctly, Bob, or not?
And you guys can hop in if you need to, but what are your intentions for the second lot? You just said you're going to maybe continue to split and sell it, or?
Well, maybe down the road, I don't know.
I mean, I don't see any.
Right now.
I didn't see really any idea for what the second lot would be, so I just get curious to know what's going to happen down the road with this coming again if we split it, and what's going to come into play there if we grant the variance.
What is your question?
If the board grants this variance, Mike, and I can ask the city attorney, what happens to that second lot? Is it just automatically buildable as a cottage-sized lot and it has to get reapproved, or can something?
You're granting, the motion is for zoning, so if the variance were granted, you would essentially create two lots today, and then if the applicant recorded it, unlike Mr. Braid, it would then be two lots that he could sell one, or he could build a separate house on it, or he could leave it blank like a yard, just like anybody could with a vacant lot.
Okay.
There's a place for horseshoes over there. I've got a picnic table over there.
Okay.
And, sorry, I just have one quick question for the staff. If we deny this applicant, is he allowed to reapply, and when?
I believe the code says he cannot come back for a year.
It's pretty on this.
With the, and I didn't see, it, with this proposed plan up here, where would the driveway be located?
The driveway?
Yes.
Well, number one, I intend to have as much of a grass driveway as I can, so there's not really a driveway specifically. Like down the center of the lot, or the center of the remaining lot, towards the house where the garage is, and maybe just before he gets to the garage, like a 20-foot pad. If a person pulled up there and didn't pull into the garage, they'd get out of their car on a concrete drive or a brick surface or something like that. But
So
the
would it
rest
be a
of
shared driveway with the second lot if you did intend to build there, or
Excuse me?
would it be, I can't see where the garage is, I'm sorry. Let me look in here. Okay, okay.
This is the outline of the house. That's the garage. So this is the house here, the pool, and so the road will come here. These plans don't mean anything. These plans don't mean anything.
Okay, thank you.
The plans that he has, they're not for us.
Okay, thank you.
The driveway going to the house, the house on the south side, my house, would be basically a grass road, just nothing there, period, if I can manage that. And then a 20-foot pad right in front of the garage. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have, okay, Claire?
I just want to be clear that the slide shows proposed plans, so the applicant is not really committed to doing that. Just to that design. It's proposed.
This, the plans that I showed you during the presentation, those were architectural plans.
Tho-
That's
those
not
are-
through this board.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, he will be, I mean, this is the layout of what his architect has designed for him, and that's essentially going to be the layout.
But that would have to be approved and permitted separately, right? And it could change.
It would be,
And it could change.
if the variance was granted, he would be entitled to have straight zoning, so he would
Right.
submit a permit, and as long as it met these setbacks
Right.
and met the.
You could build anything.
criteria, it would be approved by staff.
Right. So the house could come forward, it could go backward. I mean, it's a proposed plan. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that.
Well, I
It could go up.
specifically put the house way back in the back like that. I have a large front yard, so it's not jammed against the road. Right around the corner there's, on Cleveland, there's 2 or 3 houses that they're jammed on the road. One guy there that you have a two-car garage, and the driveway is that wide, and almost every time you drive by there, there are 4 cars in the driveway. And the back car, out close to where there'd be a sidewalk, is damn near in the road. So there's two-car garage, usually vacant, and there's a car on the right against the garage, car behind that, car on the left against the garage, car behind that.
I'm sorry, we can't have a discussion like this.
Yeah. This is just to address to the board, sorry.
If I can answer the question about the proposed plan, it is part of the final order that this proposed plan and the development afterwards in the building permit would meet substantial to this proposed plan. And you can also, in your motion, state that reinforce that is the case.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the
to
beginning
repeat
of
that.
that?
Sorry.
This
Hard to hear.
proposed plan is a document within the final order that we had drafted, so that any building permit that had come to us would have to substantially meet this proposed plan.
And that would have to be part of the motion?
You could reinforce it as part of your motion if that's what you want, to make sure.
Any other questions by the board?
That would guarantee that we can't build 2 or 3-story building there like the last guy?
We can't take, I'm sorry, we can't take additional comments from the audience without a card. So,
I'd
Yeah,
just
I
like
know.
to make a comment. Are we done with questions from us, or?
yeah, is the board done with questions? We're ready to start with a motion?
Yeah. While I'm not opposed to lot splits, I wish there was a better architectural presentation. I feel like if you want to live in the neighborhood and you want to sell everybody on all your neighbors and show them why you want to live there, I don't see an actual hardship. And if we deny this request, you can still build a nice home that conforms to the existing zoning. So I don't feel like we're preventing it, you from living in this neighborhood. So I motion to deny the request.
Second.
Third.
Okay.
Only a motion and a second.
Yeah, we just need a second.
With a motion and a second,
We have a motion.
public comment, you would ask the clerk to take roll.
Jordan, can you go ahead and take the roll of the vote, please?
Do you still want to speak? No. Okay, so go ahead.
Vice Chair Freitas.
Deny.
Board Member Vogel.
Deny.
Board Member Nash.
Deny.
Chair Stanley.
Denied. Okay, we have a motion on this variance. There are no other items on the agenda for this evening, so thank you and have a wonderful night.